Yo, what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are ya?
I'm all right.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal with some Gary Poppins, grown by our friend Ignius. Thank you, Ignius, for throwing to the cause. Gary Poppins is an evenly balanced hybrid strain, 50-50 sativa indica, created through crossing the Gary, Peyton, and Red Run strains. The lesser-known brother of the infamous nanny, Mary Poppins, Gary Poppins will take you on the adventure of a lifetime with just one delicious little toke. No singing required, Mrs. Weedman. The high will come rushing in as soon as you exhale, filling your mind with lifted senses of euphoria that wipes away any negative thinking or tensions. You'll be filled with the lightly weighty calm that weighs down the brain, allowing your creativity to run rampant as your thoughts fade into oblivion. Oh boy. A deeply relaxing body high accompanies the heady boost, keeping you locked down to reality. Combined with its super high, between 25 and 30% average THC levels, these effects make Gary Poppins a great choice to treat chronic pain, chronic stress, depression, and appetite loss, or nausea. This bud has a sweet and spicy lemon candy flavor with hints of fruity berries and a touch of earthy herbs. The aroma adds a punch of sharp diesel, intensifying the more that you toke. Gary Poppins buds have dense, grape-shaped emerald green nugs with deep purple undertones, lots of thin orange hairs, and tiny bright white crystal trichomes. The effects: calming, creative, euphoria, happy, relaxing, uplifting. Relieve symptoms of appetite loss, chronic pain, depression, nausea, and stress. Flavors are candy, cherry, citrus, herbal, lemon, sour, spicy, sweet. And the aromas are candy, cherry, diesel, earthy, fruity, herbal.
You repeated
spicy.
yourself.
No, aromas and flavors. That's the same.
Flavonoids.
That's it.
Flavorants.
Esters.
Jeez Louise.
Everything, Mrs. Weedman, we have with this Gary Poppins.
I tasted, believe it or not, and I was like, I taste pepper.
Really?
I did.
Spicy.
And then you said, it's got that. So I was proud of my taste buds for working today.
There you go. You're out.
I'm out.
You're out.
Because I talked too long. I better keep smoking.
Mr. Weedman needs to get high.
I wasn't out a second ago.
Did I roll it too tight?
Yeah.
No?
We'll get her going again.
Mr. Weedman didn't roll it by hand. I have a machine. Everybody, I'm fake. I'm a fraud.
But I have to tell you, if you struggle rolling joints, get yourself a little joint roller.
That's what I do.
It's this tiny little apparatus, has kind of like a hammock that you put your plant matter and your filter and your paper into, and you just wind it, and your joint is rolled. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Takes a minute to understand it.
Yes.
And I think some of them operate more fluidly than others, so it might take a couple different ones until you get one that works for you, but they're just called joint rollers,
yes,
I believe.
They're really good.
Yeah,
they're really
pretty
nice. Good. It gave me the experience to roll and learn how to roll that way. One day when I'm maybe retired and I have time, I'm going to learn how to roll a fat joint by hand. But for right now, I'll just use the joint roller.
I've determined that my joint rolling skills are more of a hybrid. I can roll, I can make my filter, but then as I'm rolling, my dexterity in my hands aren't great, so everything kind of falls out the ends. So then I've got half of my joint filled by the time I've got it rolled into a joint.
I will say this: you rolled one the other night, though.
I can roll,
and it was very good.
But it's a hybrid, like I'm saying. Then I piece it together and kind of pack down that.
Does it work for you?
Hybrid.
But you
what?
You roll good. I'm saying the way you do it, does it work for you?
It works for me.
And
everybody's got their own style.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to, I could roll a joint and you could smoke it.
Yes, but you rolled a joint with a glass filter. That's not easy.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Right.
And there's probably a lot of other people out there that can't do it. And you rolled some blue sushi, which was very good. I'm good for right this minute. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That blue sushi was sushi.
Another one grown by our friend Ignius. And we'll smoke that on the show another time. But I wanted to try some Gary Poppins. So because of the indica sativa, 50-50. So I figured for the show, instead of being...
Be fun.
Like, we smoked Skywalker OG last night, grown by our friend Ignius, and that was euphoria heaven.
Yeah.
I haven't been that baked and that stoned in a hot minute. Let's just say. I mean, we
had the giggles.
Oh, we had a little bit of everything that went through that
Yeah.
strain, and it was just spectacular. And I'm a Skywalker. I haven't smoked Skywalker OG in a few years, and I'm a huge fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a heavy hitter, like 80% indica. And I tell you what, when I was walking up the stairs, I feel like it took me like 3 days. I was like,
Yeah, we were like shuffle walking. But at the same time, you had this like energy. And then you said, and I experienced, like we both had trouble falling asleep.
yes.
But then,
When
so
I
it
was
didn't
out-
make us feel, but while we were watching TV, like you felt relaxed.
Yes.
But then couldn't fall asleep, fell asleep, and then it was like,
I did not move. I don't
Lights
think
out.
either. I don't think
we moved all night long.
I don't think so. If the house would have fucking fell down, I probably still wouldn't have moved
Yeah.
because I was
was
like,
pretty great.
I mean, I felt like a bazillion pounds was on me. It was great. What a great sleep. If you
I
had a
remember
chance-
getting to bed and saying, "Did I just walk the way I think I walked?
Yes.
Like, my feet weren't moving."
Yuki was trying to play with me, and I really did not have the movement to be able to
Yeah.
like wrestle and
Just
play
couldn't
with
do
her
it.
and stuff. Oh, it was just such Ignius. So far, the 3 strains we've smoked have been
Nice work.
nice work. Applause.
Yes.
You ever wonder what mummies smell like?
No, because I think I always just assumed they would stink.
They would stink, right?
Right.
They don't.
I know, isn't that bizarre?
They have a pleasant smell. Now, I've seen
Yeah.
mummies like in a museum, you know, when they did the tour and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I saw, you know,
But it's usually in glass, encased. You
and
can't
and they're
see it.
wrapped and mummified, right? They're wrapped, and they usually have fragrance, frankincense, and myrrh, and
Yeah.
all kind
So
of
now I
stuff
wanna-
wrapped around them.
I always just thought I wanted to be cremated. But now I'm like, if you could be buried that nicely, like myrrh, like oils, balms,
That's what they do.
oils,
So they smell nice.
plants. That just sounds so great.
Yeah, but I still don't want to be buried in the dirt.
No?
No.
You could put me in the middle of like a rainforest like that.
And then you might as well just be one of those the ones you
Yeah,
can
like
be
a
buried in a
tree,
tree.
the tree, yeah.
And then get mummified.
Is that
in
real or is that just like an
there's-
AI ad?
No. I think I've seen.
It's real?
Yeah, it's real.
Do you think they
So
do you think they really do it?
Do you want me to bury
Like, do you get
I
to
can
go
just
to
do
like a
it for you if you
graveside
want.
service and see the person put with the tree in the ground?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about cremation too. It's like you get a little bit of someone else in there,
No, not at all. They make
Like-
sure it's totally cleaned out.
and it's not
supposedly.
like just like wood.
No.
Like, are you sure they? Like, how do you
100%.
know?
My dad was cremated, and we
I
transferred.
know, but we didn't go and watch.
Yeah, but we
That
transferred
would be
his. We
horrible.
transferred his ashes to his urn, and you saw bone, and you saw
but that could be
everything.
I don't mean to be disrespectful.
I'm not.
You just started talking about mummies. Now you got me going.
I know.
Baked.
I know, but
Really
go
baked.
back to the mummy
really
part
baked.
real quick, though.
Yeah, back to mummies.
Back to the
Yeah, I think I
mummies.
want to be mummified.
You want to be mummified? Why? Because you want to smell good while you're dead.
Yeah, because it just sounds comfortable.
Well, I'll be wrapped up in your arm and in an urn.
Like
How's
to be
that sound?
wrapped in balms and branches and gauze,
But
and
I never-
set into like a quiet, cool space that like sounds pretty nice.
Sounds pretty nice. I mean, the mummies
a
are.
forever
I
nap.
mean, they're mummified, and their bodies don't decompose into bone,
Right.
Because
It's
they're
bizarre.
so right.
They just found. Did I show you this? They just found these preserved body parts that are like 2,000 years old. They were preserved naturally. Like wherever they landed, something about the soil, the acidity of the soil was the perfect habitat for
Really?
these bodies to just naturally decompose. They didn't decompose. That's the strangest thing. Like out in the open, they didn't decompose. The earth like covered
Crazy.
them enough and took care of them. They literally still had their skin and they weren't mummified.
nice.
It was just the earth.
Just get some of that soil.
Isn't that crazy?
Probably like Count
They say
Dracula's
that can
soil.
happen in lakes.
It's probably
too.
like Count Dracula's soil. You know, he has to live in his own soil to
Oh.
be able. Yeah, so he doesn't decompose.
So he has to compost his poop to get the soil. I mean, where does he get it? Where? How did he create his own
It's
soil?
from his own homeland, from Transylvania.
Oh,
He can't live
Like
without
just
his own
anywhere?
soil. No,
Like-
just his own soil. He has to live in it.
it's got to be Transylvanian soil. That's what you're saying.
Kind of like mummified. You're mummified. You got to live in the good life. Hey, next time we travel,
Yeah.
since I'm bald,
Yeah.
I have a great way how to sneak weed through customs.
Yeah.
A phenomenal way.
Okay, tell me.
So you have to do it right. You have to get me a cool toupee, right? We'll have to let the sides grow out a little bit, right? And then you have to
Yeah.
give me something. So what I want to do is get remember little dime bags? Remember? And I want to tape them to my scalp.
Get out of here. You're talking about that
And
guy.
then I want you to put a toupee over there. So when I go through customs, I can bring my own Ignius and Big Earl weed and all of our favorites with us, and just put them in like 20 little dime bags around my head. So we'll just.
But you go through a scanner.
You can't see it. It's not metal.
Yeah. But they'd see like a weird object. They'd see little lumps all over your head.
Well, listen.
Yeah, I know.
If this guy can travel across country
Right.
with a toupee filled with
Cocaine.
right? I want me some of that cocaine. He transferred through his toupee multiple times till he finally got caught. He had cocaine taped to his scalp,
I
and
think
then had
I saw
toupee
a
over it.
video of that, them removing it. I wasn't listening to the story, but I think I saw a video of that. It was all on the underside of, and he was already like a drug runner. He had already had been convicted of these charges,
That's what I'm
and he's
saying.
doing it again.
Right. So he made it through puppy.
So you're
How
just
many
gonna do it with weed?
I want to do it with weed.
Weed.
I want to do it with good strains. I want to tape them to the scalp, and then I want you to do the whole thing,
Yeah.
the whole toupee. You gotta make me look cool though, kind of like an Elvis toupee. You know, kind of like that. So I look like, no, that guy can't be fucking running drugs underneath that toupee. Imagine the guy getting caught though, like not thinking he's gonna get caught.
Right.
And all of a sudden he gets stopped, and they're like, "Excuse me,
Well,
excuse me."
It was really that
Your
his
toupee
toupee
is-
was like all sideways. Like something's off about that. Does he realize
Imagine-
he looked like Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh god!
Oh, I'm so hot. I'm so hot.
Imagine if like the bag broke open, and you got a little white stuff,
There's,
like fucking crawling down
It's
his
just
face. and
dandruff.
shit.
He says it's just dandruff. Don't mind me.
Imagine if you were sitting on the plane, you start itching your fucking.
Oh my God, and it starts falling
pops
out
on
all
some
over.
guy's fucking lap, and the guy actually likes coke.
And
he's
there's like a
"Yo,
party plane."
Time to party.
Everyone's all coked out
But
when they
I'm serious.
land.
I'm serious. We should just try it one time and see if we pass.
No, we shouldn't.
We should do it in the United States first, and then see if I can walk through just as a joke.
It wouldn't be a joke at an airport.
I'd be like, "Oh, there's the green box.
We could do it with,
There's
like-
the green box. I can just throw it in the green box."
oh yeah.
Always thinking.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back later and put my hand down there and grab it because I
You
ain't
could
wasting.
do it.
I ain't wasting.
You have fun
I ain't wasting-
doing
I
that.
ain't
I'll
wasting-
be like 10 people behind you in line.
We should just try it and film it and see if it works.
No.
You walk behind me. You don't even know who I am. I'll just
You'll
go
get
walk-
arrested.
I won't get arrested. I'll be like, "Oh fuck, I forgot."
Oh, this is for going to the concert.
Yes, I gotta put this fucking in the green
Totally
box.
forgot that I have a wig on my head and I'm a bald guy that doesn't wear a wig. Totally forgot.
You could
Totally
be-
forgot the
and then
wig
you can
was on
stand
my head.
behind me with your
Oh,
camera.
it could be in your ball cap. So when you take your ball cap off,
No,
the
that'll
hair
fall.
goes with it.
No, we don't want the hair. We want no ball cap. We just want the toupee. We got to make it like the Elvis style. And I want you to walk behind me with the camera, just to film it, going through
body
security.
camera?
Yeah, just
You're
going through
tricky.
security. Just to just on your phone, but just hold it like you're looking at it and film me while I'm walking through security and see if I get caught with it. We should try it. It'd be really funny.
I don't know. That's pretty risky, Mr. Weedman. I don't know if I could do that. You're asking
You're not
a
going
lot.
to get in trouble. I'm the one.
I know,
They
but
won't
then
even
you
know I'm
will.
with you. They won't even know I'm with you.
You go down, I go down.
How you got to get the
We're
lawyer.
all in
You got to get the
this
lawyer.
together.
You got to call our friend on the West Coast.
Yeah. Help.
Yeah.
Help.
Who do we need to call to get Mr.
I
Weedman
know
out
who
of
we're
prison?
calling. Shitty.
Yep,
Help.
that is his nickname, everybody. So it's our good friend Shitty. We'll be calling him. Help Mr. Weedman.
Mr.
Shitty, get him out
Weedman's
of
in
jail.
trouble. That's what he does.
That's what he does.
He usually puts them away, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he knows to treat people.
He knows how to.
Yeah.
He knows how
to
it goes.
maneuver. Oh my gosh. So I think we should try it as a joke and see
Oh
if
my
it works.
gosh.
Just to see if we can do it.
Maybe try it not at an airport the first time. Somewhere else. Where else do you get scanned? Like a ball game.
Yeah, we could try it there, but that's not fun.
Oh,
Gotta do it at the airport.
that's crazy.
Don't
Slightly.
just a little bit.
A little bit.
But but it's weed. As long as you don't bring it on the plane, you can just throw it in the green box. I'm like,
Oh,
fuck.
shoot. I
Yeah.
forgot to, yeah.
Yes.
Back to that whole forget you had the wig
I'll
on.
just throw the whole wig in there.
Totally
I'll just
forgot.
throw the whole wig in there, the whole
Totally
thing.
forgot I had a wig on.
Oh, shit. All right, we're being
gosh.
silly, everybody. You want to hit that one more time?
Oh, should we?
No. If you're not ready, we'll wait till after this.
We'll
This
wait a
is
minute.
This is, we're going to get the show started. You ready, Mrs. Weedman?
I'm ready.
Let's get the show started. So, this is a little bit of a long one for Mr. Weedman. All right? So, just bear with me. I've been interested in many years since med days on how much a dispensary costs. Now, I've also talked to many people. I've also gotten to be friends with a lot of people that own dispensaries and gotten a little bit of information. But I wanted to dig in a little bit and find out, and this is just, it might not be 100% accurate. There's probably more cost. There's probably stuff I didn't put down. Let's just call this the basics, all right? So it could be spot on, or it could be off by a few $100,000. So let's just put it that way.
But we talked about this particular article before deciding to put it on the show. Like, are our listeners really going to want to hear about the cost to open a dispensary? But we thought it would be relevant because we do talk about the business. We talk about the income. And all the numbers are so big, big, big. And a lot of people wonder why I don't have a dispensary closer to me. Why aren't there more of them? Why? But not everybody understands all of the dynamics. So pointing out the cost is important.
Yes.
Then you understand why they're not popping up everywhere. It's like opening a McDonald's.
Right.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, it is not cheap, especially the regulations and everything. So let's
And you can't get loans from a bank.
Right.
Okay, so you need capital. You need investors. And investors are not investing right now.
Right.
It's tough.
Yes, it's very tough. A lot of people here in Illinois couldn't get funding, and it sucks because there's a lot of licenses that aren't opened yet.
You have to have a lot of working capital.
Yes. So I'm very interested in this, and hopefully some of you that work in the dispensary industry that don't know the numbers now learn and what it costs. And if some of you that want to own your own dispensary one day, I would love to one day open up just a medical dispensary. And, you know, if you're just plain interested in what it costs and why your weed, it might be priced at this amount and it's expensive. So let's dive in. Opening a cannabis dispensary involves high startup costs, complex regulations, and ongoing expenses. Entrepreneurs face challenges like navigating legal framework, securing retail space, and investing in security. Costs can range from $150,000 to $2 million, with licensing fees up to $100,000. Entrepreneurs must also manage real estate, salaries, inventory, and marketing. Banking is difficult due to cannabis federal status, leading to reliance on private funding. Tax burdens like the IRS Code 280E prevents deductions for any expenses, adding to financial challenges. This guide kind of breaks it down a little bit, and what's associated with opening a dispensary in 2025, helping prospective dispensary owners understand what it truly takes to enter this highly regulated and rapidly expanding industry. Licensing fees. Securing an appropriate license fee is critical and foundational steps in establishing a cannabis dispensary in the United States. The costs associated with license fees can vary dramatically across different states, reflecting diverse regulatory frameworks governing cannabis operations. Application fees. Just to apply. Most are non-refundable, and they range from as low as $100 up to towards $25,000, depending on the state and the type of license sought. For instance, Arizona's application fee for medical marijuana nonprofit dispensary license is $5,000 with a $1,000 refundable if the application is unsuccessful. That right there. Here, let's just take Kentucky. I mentioned this in a couple episodes ago. Just to apply, for almost 5,000 people applied for some sort of license. Not all dispensary, but like 4,000 people applied for dispensary. Okay, they raised $27 million in just fees. Non-refundable. The application fee, I already talked about that. Licensing fees. California annual licensing fees are determined by the license type and the size of the operation. For example, fees range from $1,205 for specialty cottage outdoor licenses to $77,905 for medium indoor licenses. Illinois, the place we live. For early approval adult use licenses, there is a non-refundable permit fee of $100,000, in addition to a cannabis business development fund fee, which is 5% of the total sales between July 1st, 2018 to July 1st of 2019, or $500,000, whichever is less. Man, they murdered you.
Jeez.
Fucking took that steak right to the heart on that one. Florida. The application fee for medical marijuana treatment center license is $60,830. Just for the application fee.
And non-refundable.
Non-refundable.
And you might have to apply a number of times.
Yes. And you get 60 grand, 60 grand, 60 grand. I knew back in when Illinois was going rec and there was people applying like 10 times for a recreational license in that beginning 2020. Shoo! Renewal fees. Don't forget. Got to not pay the man once, not pay the man twice, but pay the man three times. Maintaining a dispensary license requires adherence to renewal protocols, which often involve additional fees and compliance checks. California, the annual renewal fee ranging from $2,500 to $96,000 for retail licenses.
What?
Connecticut, cultivation licenses carry an annual renewal fee of $75,000.
That's insane.
Michigan, annual renewal fees are determined by the type of class of license held. Additional considerations. Beyond the standard fees, several other factors can influence the licensing process. Performance bonds. Some states require applicants to secure performance bonds as a financial insurance measure. For example, Arkansas mandates $500,000 performance bond for cultivation licenses. Social equity programs. Certain states have implemented social equity programs aimed at promoting exclusivity within the cannabis industry. These programs may offer reduced fees or prioritize application processing for qualified individuals. Local regulations. In addition to state requirements, local municipalities may impose their own licensing fees, zoning laws, and operational restrictions. It's essential to consult local authorities to ensure full compliance. Given the dynamic of the cannabis legislation, it is imperative for prospective dispensary owners to stay informed about the latest regulations in their respective states. Engaging with state regulatory industry agencies and consulting with legal experts can provide valuable guidance through the interest license landscape. So like Mrs. Weedman and I, we would like to do a mom and pop dispensary. We can't even afford to get even into the game. We can't even afford the initial application fee. Just to open up a small little dispensary.
It doesn't matter how big or small you want it. The fee is the fee.
Here's a good one. Mrs. Weedman's good on this one. Real estate cost. For a cannabis dispensary, location is paramount because it dictates customers' traffic and adherence to regulations. Dispensary real estate costs involve property acquisitions, lease or purchases, and renovations to meet legal requirements. Lease purchase cost. The annual rent for a suitable commercial space varies widely. Influenced by factors such as location, size, local market conditions. In prime urban areas, rental costs can be substantial due to high demand and limited availability. For instance, in a busy town area, the rent for a 1,000 square foot dispensary could be up to $5,000 to $10,000 per month, totaling $60,000 to $120,000 annually. Yeah, landlords rape the shit out of cannabis companies. Oh my gosh, I know one place is paying like $100,000 a month. That's nuts. Nuts.
That's crazy.
A month.
Everyone's just trying to ride the coattails.
In more rural areas, rents may be lower, ranging from $2,000 to $5,000 per month, $24,000 to $60,000 a year. Purchasing property is another option, though. It requires a significant upfront investment. Property prices fluctuate based on geographic location, property size, and market demand. Additionally, securing financing for purchasing property can be challenging due to federal restrictions on cannabis-related businesses, often necessitating the use of alternative funding sources. Build-out and renovation cost. You ready? Transforming a chosen space to comply with stringent state and local regulations while also creating an inviting environment of customers involves considerable build-out and renovation expenses. These can range from $350,000 to $750,000 for a 3,500 square foot dispensary in a pre-existing building.
Wow.
Security systems. State regulations mandate robust security systems and high surveillance cameras, alarm systems, secure storage for cannabis products, and controlled access points. My computer just went crazy.
Yeah,
everybody.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's lightning outside or what. That was kind of crazy. The cost of we almost had a meltdown here, everybody. In just
Is
a second.
Recording?
It's recording. We're good. The cost of comprehensive security installations can range from $10,000 to $50,000, depending on the system complexity and the facility size. HVAC systems, proper ventilations, and climate control are essential to maintaining product quality, ensure a comfortable environment, customers and staff. And HVAC systems, good ones, are very expensive. Interior design and furnishings. Creating a welcoming and complement retail space involves cost and interior design, display cases, shelving, point-of-sale counters, and customer waiting areas. These elements not only enhance the customer experience, but also ensure the efficient operation of the dispensary. Compliance modifications adhering to the American Disabilities Act with other local building codes may require modifications such as installing ramps, widening doorways, and ensuring accessible restrooms, further contributing to renovation costs. It's important to note the figures are average, and actual costs can vary based on specific project requirements. Local labor rates and material costs engaging with the professionals' experience in cannabis dispensary construction can provide more accurate estimates tailored to individual projects. Capital requirements. State implement capital requirements to ensure dispensary owners possess the necessary resources to maintain operations, adhere to regulations, uphold public safety. These financial prerequisites typically encompass proof of liquid assets in certain jurisdictions, the procurement of performance bonds, proof of funds. In Arizona, applicants must demonstrate access of $500,000 in liquid capital to qualify for a dispensary license.
Just for a license.
Just for a license. Michigan. The state requires proof of financial responsibility, including documentation of assets, to ensure applications can meet the financial demand of operating a dispensary. Illinois. Applicants are required to show proof of at least $400,000 in liquid assets to be eligible for a dispensary license.
So I'm just realizing, I didn't realize this. You can't even buy a license if you're not qualified to open a dispensary. I thought you could just buy a license. Why couldn't you? And
Need
just
proof of funds.
And, maybe it's going to take you now time to get your capital.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You have to show.
It's a requirement to serve as safeguard, ensuring businesses are financially equipped to navigate the complexities of the cannabis industry. These financial thresholds are designed to confirm the applicants possess the necessary capital to manage the expense associated with launching and operating a dispensary. Licensing fees, real estate costs, inventory procurement. And
if they were really
salaries.
that worried about it, they shouldn't jack up the prices so much.
Right.
I mean, I understand build out is going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Security systems are ridiculous.
Yeah.
The extensive security involved is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's performance bonds. In addition to proof of funds, certain states require applicants to secure performance bonds as a condition of licensure. A performance bond acts as a financial guarantee, ensuring the dispensary will operate in compliance with state regulation and fulfill the obligation. Florida, the state mandates that medical marijuana treatment centers of applicants post a performance bond of $5 million guaranteed by a registered surety business to cover potential liabilities. $5 million. California, dispensary applicants are required to obtain a bond of $5,000 payable to the state as part of the licensing process. Massachusetts, the state requires $500,000 surety bond for dispensary applicants to ensure compliance with state regulations. They don't do this in the alcohol industry or the tobacco industry. Performance bonds serve multiple purposes. Regulatory compliance. They provide assurance to regulatory bodies that the dispensary will adhere to applicable laws and regulations. Financial protection. If an event of noncompliance or business failure, the bond can be used to cover fines, penalties, and other financial obligations, thereby protecting the state and consumers. Market integrity. By requiring performance bonds, states aim to promote responsible business practices and maintain the integrity of the cannabis market. It is important to note the specific requirements for proof of funds and performance bonds vary by state and are subject to change. Prospective dispensary owners should consult their state's regulatory agencies and seek professional guidance to ensure compliance with all financial prerequisites. Operational costs in running a cannabis dispensary. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. We gave you the nuts and bolts. Here's some meat and potatoes. Ready? Operating a cannabis dispensary involves managing a variety of ongoing expenses, which are essential for daily operations. Understanding the cost is crucial for maintaining profitability and ensuring compliance with state regulations. Staffing. A knowledgeable and customer-focused team is the backbone of any successful dispensary. Annual payroll expenses can vary significantly based on location, dispensary size, and competitive landscape. For instance, salaries for dispensary managers can range from $50,000 to $80,000 per year. While bud tenders may earn $30,000 to $50,000 a year annually, collectively staffing costs, including benefits, can count for a substantial portion of operational costs. Labor cost is the killer of all businesses. Mm-hmm. If you have to have a certain labor cost, and if you go over that threshold, you are losing money. Labor cost. I came from the restaurant bar world, especially the restaurant world, which is like food cost and labor cost could be the death of your business. Labor costs in any industry can be the death of you staying open. It's sad to say, but you have to bring in more profit to be able to pay your staff more, right? And it takes a lot of money to staff, as we just said. I mean, just think if you have 25 employees working, maybe 50% of them are working full time. You know, you're paying 30, 40, 50,000 a month sometimes in labor cost. It's a lot of money. Investing as knowledgeable staff is crucial for compliance and customer satisfaction. Utilizing a robust point of sale system can streamline operations, manage inventory, enhance the customer's experience. Inventory, maintaining the optimal inventory are vital to meet the customer's demand and ensure a diverse product offering. Initial inventory investments can range from $100,000 to $500,000 and some more. Some close to like $750,000 to $1 million, depending on where you're at, how big your store is, what kind of traffic you're going to get, you know, but 100 to 500,000, just say. Depending on the variety and quantity of products offered, ongoing inventory cost often compromises a significant portion of total expenses, sometimes counting to 40 to 60% of operational cost. That's bad as your labor cost. Just like I said, food cost, right?
Right.
You always want to be under that 20, you want to be around that 25, 27%. You're there, you're good. You go over that, woohoo. You know, security. Robust security measures are not only essential for compliance with state regulatory, but also safeguarding assets and ensuring safety in staff and customers. The initial investment in security systems, including surveillance cameras, alarm systems, and security storage, can range from $50,000 to $100,000. Additionally, annual maintenance and monitoring costs should be factored into the budget. Insurance. Comprehensive insurance coverage is essential to protect businesses against potential risk. Annual premiums can be based on coverage levels of the business size. For example, commercially liability insurance may cost from $10,000 to $15,000 annually, while product liability insurance can range from $8,000 to $12,000 per year. So right there is like $27,000 a year, just in two different insurances. Utilities and maintenance. Monthly expenses for utilities, such as electricity, water, internet, along with maintenance costs, can be a total between $5,000 to $20,000, depending on the size and location of the dispensary. Energy-intensive operations, especially those involving cultivation, may incur higher utility costs. The effective management of these operational costs is crucial for sustainability and profitability of cannabis dispensaries. Implementing efficient systems such as POS and staying informed about industry best practices can aid in optimizing expenses and enhancing overall business performance. Establishing a robust online presence and implementing effective marketing strategies are crucial for dispensary success. Starting a cannabis dispensary is an ambitious yet rewarding endeavor that requires a good financial planning, regulatory compliance, and strategic execution. While the industry presents significant opportunities for growth, entering the market is far from a straightforward process. From licensing fees to real estate costs to operational expenses and marketing investment, dispensary owners must be prepared for substantial upfront and ongoing financial commitments. While the cost of opening a dispensary are undeniably high, careful budgeting, strategic planning, and deployment of modern technology can improve efficiency and profitability. Entrepreneurs who take the time to fully understand and prepare for these financial obligations will be in much stronger position to not only open a dispensary, but sustain and grow into an increasingly competitive market. I like that. I learned a lot just in the basics of it all. I know there's so much more, but that's the basics. If you're interested in opening up a dispensary, or if you want to get into the game, there's just some basics of what you're going to need. There's probably more depending on state, municipalities, and all that stuff too. That there's going to be this person. Also, don't forget, you gotta fucking give somebody the old boost, as my dad used to say. And what a boost is, mean you gotta fucking dupe somebody here and there. You gotta give them a little 100 in the pocket to get maybe something signed a little quicker, or you want this fucking code to pass. Hey, here's a gift card for some dinner or something, you know, just the way the world works, especially in fucking Illinois. Hemp. I sit with a lot of people, and I talk a lot with a lot of people in this industry, and one does not like the other, and one doesn't like this, and one doesn't like that, and one doesn't like this. They're pissed off about the farm bill, and they're pissed off. I understand it all. I get it. It's a $28 billion industry. It employs a lot of people. Yes, they don't have the same standards and regulations that Mrs. Weedman is going to talk about that legal cannabis recreational market or medical market does. I understand all that. And I know you're all pissed out there, all the owners of all the legal recreational cannabis market. I get it. But you need each other. You need the minor cannabinoids that hemp provides for all your edibles and all your stuff. I believe there should be standardization. Mrs. Weedman is going to talk about that. I do believe there should be better testing. I do believe it shouldn't be sold in gas stations. There's just things that it needs to be regulatory. It shouldn't be sold to minors. Mrs. Weedman is going to take you through why the government in America is getting high on hemp and why the federal government has no idea what to do about it.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
So we've talked recently a couple of times about hemp versus weed, that it is this fight within the industry, but that really they need to be more working together and trying to get things to move forward, right? So this is a really good lowdown. It also is going to explain like what is hemp versus just regular standard THC and why is it so confusing, and because really it's a cluster and it's confusing everybody. So let's get on to it.
Tell us about it.
I'm really high. I'm really baked. Crossroads of the U.S. cannabis industry. High on hemp and not weed? Now what? The American landscape is changing, and not just politically or socially. A subtle but significant shift is occurring in the realm of cannabis consumption, driven by the rise of intoxicating hemp products. These products, often boasting psychoactive compounds like Delta-8 THC and other synthesized cannabinoids, got that? Synthesized cannabinoids, have flooded the market, offering a readily accessible alternative to traditional cannabis in states where it remains illegal or heavily restricted. However, this growing industry operates largely in a regulatory vacuum, raising serious questions about public health, consumer safety, and the potential for unintended consequences. The question, therefore, isn't just whether America can regulate intoxicating hemp products, but whether it must, right? The legal foundation for this current situation lies in the 2018 Farm Bill, a piece of legislation intended to revitalize the agricultural sector by legalizing the cultivation of hemp. Defined as cannabis with delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, concentration of no more than 0.3% on a dry weight basis, hemp was removed from the Controlled Substances Act, effectively opening the door for a new industry. So, same plant, just a lower percentage of THC. Okay? And the intention was for them to just farm it for textiles and all these other industries. And then someone found a little loophole. So
business development.
Yeah. While the Farm Bill aimed to foster the growth of hemp for its myriad industrial applications, from textiles to building materials, it inadvertently created a loophole that enterprising businesses have exploited: the extraction and conversion of hemp-derived compounds into intoxicating substances. This loophole has led to the proliferation of products containing Delta-8 THC, Delta-10 THC, THCO acetate, and other synthesized cannabinoids. While these compounds may be derived from legal hemp, their intoxicating effects can be comparable to or even stronger than Delta-9 THC, the primary psychoactive component of traditional cannabis. The problem lies not in the simple existence of these compounds, but in the lack of consistent regulation governing their production, testing, and sale. Currently, because as you know, if you have gone into a dispensary, there is a lot of regulation, right? Maybe if you're still getting weed from your guy, maybe you're growing your own, you're getting it from a neighbor, whatever. You don't know where, if that's not tested, you just trust, right? You trust it's coming in good. But dispensaries are super regulated. And then you've got all this hemp running around in these stores and nobody even knows what it is, right? There's nothing, it's dangerous in some ways. Currently, the FDA has limited authority over hemp products. While they can issue warning letters to companies making unsubstantiated health claims or using unsafe manufacturing practices, they lack the power to effectively regulate the entire industry. This regulatory vacuum has resulted in a number of concerning consequences. So let's talk about them. First, there's a lack of quality control and testing. Many intoxicating hemp products are produced without rigorous quality control measures. This means consumers are often unaware of the actual potency of the product they're consuming, leading to unpredictable and potentially dangerous experiences. Furthermore, independent lab testing, when it exists, is often unreliable or incomplete, failing to detect contaminants like heavy metals, pesticides, and other residual solvents used in the extraction and conversion process. This poses a significant health risk to the consumers, particularly for those with underlying medical conditions. And understand that if they're extracting, right, they're making say a vape cartridge from hemp, and there's no testing being done. You have no idea what residual chemicals are in that vape that you're smoking in. It's one thing if it's just straight up flour. I mean, it could have pesticides, molds. Mm-hmm. It could have things, but that could be coming from your
toxins.
I guess my point being with that could also come from your guy. Like whoever the person is, your source, out your plug, whoever your
not
person
my
is.
Guys.
I understand, but not everybody has the luxury of having your guys. So some people are, growing it maybe without a lot of knowledge about what they're doing. They're getting it from somebody. Anyway, I would say, in my opinion, flour would be the least concerning of the hemp products. All those extracts would be really worrisome. Yeah. And because so many kids vape and things, and then they're ingesting this stuff, and it's like, this freaks me out.
That's the mom in you.
Yeah, that's just the granola in me. I just worry about everybody's health. Okay. Then we have misleading labeling and marketing. The absence of standardized labeling requirements allows companies to make misleading claims about their products' effects, ingredients, and safety. Many products are marketed as legal alternatives to cannabis, appealing to consumers seeking a psychoactive experience without understanding the potential risks associated with unregulated substances. This is particularly concerning for young adults and teenagers who may be more vulnerable to deceptive marketing tactics. And then there's the issue with accessibility to minors, which we just kind of segued into. Because intoxicating hemp products are often sold online and in convenience stores, gas stations, and vape shops, they are readily accessible to minors. This is a major concern. While some states have implemented age restrictions on the sale of these products, enforcement is often lax, and online retailers can easily circumvent these regulations. There is also potential for adverse health effects. The long-term health effects of consuming synthesized cannabinoids are largely unknown. The lack of research on these compounds makes it difficult to assess the true extent of the risk and develop appropriate guidelines for safe consumption. And it's causing erosion of the legal cannabis market. In states where cannabis is legal, the unregulated sale of intoxicating hemp products can undermine the legal cannabis market. These products often are cheaper than regulated cannabis, tempting consumers to choose the unregulated option despite the potential risks. This not only reduces tax revenue for the state and local governments, but also threatens the viability of legal cannabis businesses, which are subject to stringent regulations and high taxes. Given these consequences, the argument for federal regulation of intoxicating hemp products becomes increasingly compelling. The need for a national framework stems from several key factors. By establishing consistent standards for production, testing, and labeling, the federal government can ensure that consumers have access to safe and reliable products. This includes setting limits on the levels of contaminants, requiring accurate potency labeling, and mandating warnings about potential risks. Federal regulation can help prevent minors from accessing intoxicating hemp products by establishing national age restrictions and requiring retailers to verify the age of purchasers. This could involve implementing stricter online sales regulations and increasing enforcement efforts at brick-and-mortar stores. A national regulatory framework would also create a level playing field for businesses operating in the hemp industry. This would prevent unscrupulous companies from gaining an unfair advantage by cutting corners on quality control and safety. It would also help foster a more sustainable and responsible industry, benefiting both consumers and businesses. Federal regulation can also facilitate research into the potential benefits and risks of intoxicating hemp products. By establishing standardized testing protocols and data collection methods, the federal government can help researchers better understand the effects of these compounds on the human body and develop evidence-based guidelines for safe consumption. The patchwork of state law governing intoxicating hemp products creates confusion for consumers and businesses alike. A national regulatory framework would provide clarity and consistency, making it easier for companies to operate across state lines and for consumers to understand their rights and responsibilities. Several potential solutions exist for regulating intoxicating hemp products at the federal level. One approach is to amend the 2018 Farm Bill to clarify the definition of hemp and restrict the production and sale of intoxicating hemp-derived products. This could involve setting stricter limits on the levels of psychoactive compounds allowed in the hemp products and prohibiting the conversion of hemp-derived CBD into other cannabinoids like delta-THC. Another option is to enact a new federal law specifically regulating intoxicating hemp products, establishing comprehensive standards for production, testing, labeling, and marketing, as well as setting age restrictions and enforcement mechanisms. A third approach is to grant the FDA greater authority to regulate intoxicating hemp products. Oh, yeah, because they under the existing Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. The most effective solution may involve a combination of these approaches. That's what I would say. Ultimately, the decision of whether and how to regulate intoxicating hemp products will require a careful balancing act. The goal should be creating a regulatory framework that allows responsible businesses to thrive while ensuring that consumers have access to safe and reliable products. The rise of intoxicating hemp products presents a complex and evolving challenge. Failing to address this challenge could have serious consequences for public health, consumer safety, and the integrity of the legal cannabis marketplace. By taking decisive action to regulate hemp products, the United States can ensure that the benefits of the hemp industry are realized while mitigating the potential risks. The time for action is now, before the regulatory vacuum widens and the potential for harm grows even greater.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big industry.
It's just huge. Well, and that's just it. It grew faster than cannabis because it was a loophole. You're selling
Business development.
It's the same product, and there's no regulation around
Right.
it,
Yes.
so anyone can get in the business.
There needs to be regulation. There needs to be
But then that's
standardization.
scary because
Right.
there's a lot of really
Yeah. I mean, just look how
Bad
fast.
product out there.
Back when the hemp bill took place, CBD was running everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a CBD, non-psychoactive. It was fine with it. And then business development happened and people found out they can turn that 0.3% THC into 10 milligrams of Delta-9 into your edibles. And it was just like gung-ho. Drinks. I mean, just everywhere.
But it mostly has to be extracted to be
Yes.
effectively a strong enough dose to make you high.
Yes.
So to get 25 milligrams of cannabis out of a
0.3%,
0.3%,
you need a lot of plant.
hemp plant, you need a lot of material. So it's extra, and then
Yes.
that means there's a lot of chemicals.
Yes.
They're not doing they're not making hash.
No.
They're not doing cold water extraction.
No.
They're not making
It's a
rosin.
lot of solvents.
It's solvents.
It's not solventless.
It's chemical.
Yes.
And you don't know what that is. There's
Right.
no regulation.
Right. So, like I said, a lot of the legal cannabis market
Even the gummies.
does not like hemp
Yeah.
at all. And
Right.
I understand why. But we have to come together and try to work together.
There just has to be, it's almost like they just clean the slate, regulate it or allow it, legalize it federally, create a framework that makes sense, and just let it go.
Right.
Start over
Have some regulations.
and make it work for both
tax
hemp
it correctly,
and,
or lower the taxes down for the people selling legal cannabis, versus cannabis light, as
Right.
I like to call it.
cannabis light.
Yep. You like THCV. I like THCV. So using these components, THCV and CBD, helps people lose weight, this study finds. A recent study published in the Journal of Cannabis investigated the effects of daily use of oral strips containing THCV and CBD on a weight loss and metabolic health for over 90 days. 44 participants were divided into 3 groups. Lower dose groups received strips with 8 milligrams of THCV and 10 milligrams of CBD. Higher dose group received strips of 16 milligrams of THCV and 20 milligrams of CBD. The placebo group received inactive strips. I don't like the placebo stuff. I feel bad. Oh man, I'm really high. No, we're not doing that shit. Participants, yeah, it was just sugar. Participants took one strip daily on an empty stomach without altering their diet or exercise routines. The results showed weight loss. 66.7% of the lower dose group lost an average of 5.7 pounds in 90 days. 70% of the higher dose group lost an average of 9 pounds in 90 days.
That's substantial.
Yeah, and the placebo group, because they thought they were taking something, lost basically almost a pound.
Yeah. At least they didn't gain anything.
All in the mind.
I got munchies. I was so stoned.
Abdominal girth reduction. 95.8% of the lower dose group and 70% of the higher dose group experienced a reduction. Man, maybe that might help my little muffin top I got over the holidays. Still having a little tough time losing that little muffin. The muffin man got me. Blood pressure and cholesterol. Both active groups showed decreases in systolic blood pressure, total cholesterol, and LDL cholesterol levels. The study concluded the daily use of THCV and CBD-infused oral strips was associated with significant weight loss and improvements in certain metabolic markers. Notably, the higher dose group exhibited more pronounced effects. However, the study's small sample size suggests that further research is needed to confirm these findings. I'm hoping they find more because I like THCV a lot. It also wakes you up. It also wakes the mind up a little bit too. It also gives you a little pep in your step. Got some go, you know.
Creativity too.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Bloom and Thrive. Mindfulness, seasonal renewal, and how cannabis can elevate your growth. With springtime, it's time of renewal, right? We're coming into spring, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Mrs Weedman.
It's another granola story.
Your favorite.
Is that offensive to call someone a granola mom?
Are you a granola mom?
Yeah, I'm a edgy granola mom.
You make granola bars too, so
I'm really just a hippie with like a city outside. Like my two personalities are hippie and city.
There you go.
Something like that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, bloom and thrive. Let's get to the article. Okay. When the seasons shift, they bring more than just weather changes. They bring an opportunity to realign, reset, and grow. Whether it's the budding optimism of spring or the cozy reflection of autumn, each season offers a unique invitation for personal growth. The key to unlocking that growth, mindfulness, and renewal. And for those who embrace cannabis as part of their wellness journey, it can be an incredible tool to enhance both. Think about how nature adapts. Trees shed leaves in fall, animals hibernate in winter, flowers bloom in spring, and everything basks in the heat of summer. What if we approached our lives with the same intentional adaptation? The changing seasons are a reminder to pause and take stock of where we are and where we're headed. Hang on, I need to take a hit.
Oh, you got it. Got that last one.
Yeah, hold on. Not really.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia.
No, it's out. No, Mr. Weedman, sorry.
That's all right.
Studies show, incorporating mindfulness practices like meditation and journaling can help us tune into these natural rhythms. Studies show that mindfulness reduces stress, boosts mood, and improves overall well-being. For instance, as winter shifts into spring, take time to reflect on what you want to grow in your life. Are there old habits you need to shed, like autumn leaves? Are there new opportunities ready to bloom? Cannabis can amplify mindfulness and help us embrace changing seasons with intention. For centuries, people have used cannabis for relaxation, introspection, and even spiritual practices. Modern research confirms what many have long believed. Cannabis interacts with our endocannabinoid system to promote relaxation, reduce anxiety, and enhance focus. Imagine this. You've had a long day, and spring's soft evening light filters through your windows. You take a small dose of cannabis strain rich in terpenes like linalool, known for its calming effects, or limonene, associated with uplifting energy. Pair it with a guided meditation, and suddenly you're fully present and deeply attuned to the moment. That's the power of cannabis-assisted mindfulness. Here are some practical strategies for seasonal renewal. 1. Set seasonal intentions. Use the start of a new season as a fresh slate. Write down 3 things you want to focus on, whether it's improving relationships, cultivating gratitude, or building a healthy habit. Cannabis pairing for that? A hybrid strain with balanced THC and CBD can provide clarity and focus during your intention-setting ritual. 2. Engage in nature. It's the ultimate teacher of mindfulness. Take a walk in the crisp autumn air or meditate under a blooming cherry tree in spring. Cannabis pairing for that? A light sativa can heighten your senses and help you connect more deeply with the natural world. 3. Prioritize rest and reflection. Just as winter invites hibernation, allow yourself time to rest, reflect on your personal growth, and recharge. Cannabis pairing for that? An indica strain with sedative properties can help you unwind and embrace stillness. 4. Experiment with creativity. Seasonal transitions can spark creativity. Try painting the golden hues of autumn or writing a poem about summer's vibrancy. Cannabis pairing for that? A creativity-enhancing strain with pinene or limonene can unlock your inner artist. Seasons may change, and with it, the opportunity for growth is ever present. By practicing mindfulness and embracing renewal, we can align ourselves with nature's cycles and become more intentional in our lives. And for those who enjoy cannabis, it can be partner in their journey of self-discovery. Next time the wind shifts or the leaves turn, take a deep breath, light a candle or maybe a joint, and ask yourself, how can I grow with the seasons?
It's the time
of the season for loving. Oh.
Pretty good.
But yeah, I won't try it. We'll just leave it at that. That was not great. Yeah. Music was not my
You got a nice
profession.
voice. Medical marijuana is safe and effective treatment for pain and sleep issues in older people, the study shows. A recent study has found that medical marijuana is safe and effective treatment for pain and sleep issues in older adults. Over a 6-month period, participants experienced significant improvements in pain, sleep, and quality of life.
Nice.
And with 45% reporting clinically meaningful enhancements in pain interference and sleep quality, nearly half of those taking other medications reduced their use by the study's end. Importantly, no serious side effects were reported, and less than 5% experiencing adverse effects such as nausea or feeling too high. Good study. Mm-hmm. Good study. Let's get more studies going on. Let's get that research back going on again. Mm-hmm. Get some money going into cannabis research. Let's get the everything that needs to be done this year or next year or within the next, I don't know, before I'm dead. We talk a lot about edibles. We love edibles. Mrs. Weedman makes really good edibles. We like our gummies. We like our chocolates. We like everything. I like a good gummy. And I like cannabis in my food. I like when we make different butters and we add it and, like especially sauteed onions. Oh, my God. And then put that on your
with
food.
With olive oil, like infused olive oil.
You've made it with butter
or
before,
butter,
too.
Infused butter.
So good. Or coconut oil. We love our edibles. We are an edible house. You ever want some edibles? Come by. We got them. Come get edibled out with us. But what happens to your body when you eat edibles? Yeah. We've talked about this. We've talked about more research. The effects of an edible can last up to 12 times longer than inhaling cannabis. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yeah, this is important because I think people just don't realize how long they stay in your body. But the effects of an edible can last up to 12 times longer than inhaling cannabis. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. So this is written by a registered dietitian, writer, nutrition consultant, and food wellness blogger. So comes with some professional weight. With 24 states and counting legalizing cannabis for recreational and medicinal use as of January 2025, edible cannabis is gaining popularity as a discreet and long-lasting way to experience the drug. Edibles can come in a variety of forms, from brownies and cakes to chocolate bars, gummies, mints, and even cannabis-infused beverages, which have made a popular and appealing option for those who consume. Instead of being absorbed directly into the bloodstream via smoking, edibles must pass through the digestive system and travel to the liver for metabolism, explains Janice Newell Bisex. She is a holistic cannabis practitioner and at Cannabis Wellness. This difference in how you metabolize the drug means edibles can take up to 2 hours to kick in, with effects lasting anywhere from 4 to 12 hours, while the onset of smoking or vaping cannabis is just minutes and lasts 1 to 3 hours, explains Bisex. While cannabis in any form, including edibles, is not federally legal, it is fully legal in 24 states and legal for medicinal use in all but 13. While some people use edibles and other forms of cannabis for the feeling it offers, others enjoy the medicinal benefits, explains Bisex. Many people use cannabis and the non-intoxicating cannabinoid CBD to help manage pain, inflammation, anxiety, insomnia, autoimmune disorders, muscle spasms, appetite stimulation, neurodegenerative disorders, and other conditions. Here are just a few of the potential health benefits of using edibles. They can help reduce inflammation. Several compounds found in cannabis, including delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, cannabidiol, CBD, or cannabigerol, CBG, have anti-inflammatory properties that research has found to be effective at lowering markers of chronic inflammation. Non-intoxicating CBD has shown promise in helping to alleviate symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. However, animal studies have found that cannabis smoke may increase inflammation in the body, specifically in the airways, and some research has also found that while lower doses of cannabis may help reduce inflammation in the body, high doses can have the opposite effect. I didn't know that. They can provide long-lasting pain relief. Because of the long-lasting effects of edibles, they may be an ideal option for people who need long-lasting relief from pain conditions like chronic pain, explains Catherine Piper. She is a registered dietitian and board-certified wellness coach. Research has found that compared to opioid pain medications, medical cannabis may be perceived as equally effective at reducing pain symptoms.
Pa-pow!
Oh, you scared me.
Pa-pow! Pa-pow!
I was so dialed into my reading.
I think I scared Yuki too.
You really scared me. I jumped out of my
I
seat.
saw. I got so excited though. I had to do the pa-pow.
Oh my gosh. Woo. Research has found that compared to opioid pain medications, medical cannabis may be perceived as equally effective at reducing pain symptoms while having a positive effect on pain-related factors like functionality, and overall sense of well-being. With the pain-relieving effects of edible cannabis lasting 12 times longer than inhalation methods, they may be a more practical approach for managing chronic symptoms. They may be safer for your lungs as well. One notable benefit of using edibles is that there is no associated smell or smoke, making them a good choice for anyone who does not want to inhale cannabis, says Bisex. With edibles, you're not exposing your lungs to any irritants or chemical compounds that come with inhalation. Smoking cannabis can cause injury to the cell linings of large airways, leading to symptoms like bronchitis, chronic cough, and increased phlegm production. And while there is currently no association between smoking cannabis and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, there is with cigarettes. It does increase the risk of bullous lung disease and spontaneous pneumothorax, whatever those are, risks and negative effects of edibles. It's easy to overconsume. There's your risk. The main cause of negative effects from edibles often comes down to a person, what, Mr. Weedman? Taking too much.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Says Bisex. Given the delayed onset time, it is easy to get impatient and take another dose or bite, which also is a result of things tasting too damn good and wanting more of them.
Mrs. Weedman, I blame it on you.
This can result in elevated heart rates, anxiety, paranoia, and dizziness. In a study of emergency room visits related to cannabis use involving 1,135 cases, 17% presented with anxiety, including symptoms of panic attacks, aggression, manic behavior, and hallucinations, while 83% had other presentations of cannabis toxicity, including intoxication and hypermesis. Those with symptoms of anxiety were more likely to have used edibles. One study tested 75 edible cannabis products from 45 different brands and found that just 17% were labeled correctly. Well, that's a problem, with 23% containing more THC than advertised. Homemade products using cannabis-infused butters and oils can be difficult to dose accurately and should also be used cautiously. Really. I mean, you're going off of someone's opinion.
Yep.
Urges Bisics.
We try to always say it's a little bit stronger than it normally is, just to let people know, like,
yeah,
could be 15, 20 milligrams.
but you might get a piece that's 20,
Right.
25, I don't know. Choose wisely.
Yes.
The cannabis and edibles may offer some digestive benefits, but there is a growing body of evidence showing a relationship between regular cannabis use and conditions like acid reflux, pancreatitis, and peptic ulcer disease. We'll have to look into that. I haven't heard those ones.
Me neither.
Yeah. The effects may last too long. Another downside. The long-lasting effects of edibles may be beneficial for pain relief or sleep support, but this prolonged effect can interfere with your daily routine, warns Piper. This is especially true if you take a large dose of edible cannabis in the evening to sleep or relax, as it could still be in your system for the early parts of the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Making it difficult to get up and moving and increasing your risk of accidents.
We know somebody that happens to a lot.
Yeah, especially if driving or operating machinery early in the morning. Other consumption considerations. Since cannabis is not federally legal, there are no official guidelines on edible dosage or recommendations for consumption. Dosing is still in its infancy. Things like the low-risk cannabis use guidelines can help to examine current research and provide recommendations that emphasize moderation with cannabis use. Since THC is fat soluble, the ingredients in your edible or what you eat along with it can also impact its effects. A high-fat meal will delay the onset and prolong the effect, while consuming on an empty stomach may hasten the onset with a shortened duration, explains Bisics. Cannabis edibles are used medicinally and recreationally for their relaxation and pain-reducing effects, among other potential benefits. But taking edibles can come with undesired effects as well. But most bad experiences with edibles can be attributed to taking too much. So, what do we always say?
Start low.
And take it slow.
There it is, right there. I'm going to say something real quick before we go into political state and business news about edibles. A lot of people are taking edibles now, or just starting to get into the edible taking. Very inexperienced. People in the dispensary world, people in the hemp world, because you can sell edibles. You have to educate. You have to start telling people the dosage method of what their choice, especially if they're newbies. And here's the thing. If you're on medication and you can't remember to take your pill or not, what do? Don't take your pill. Right? Mm-hmm. Because you could double dose and fuck yourself up. Mm-hmm. If you use cannabis as a medication, like 80% of us do, for sleep, pain, listen to Mr. and Mrs. Weedman, and if you listen to our show, share this with people. Share this episode. We've done almost 250 episodes, and we've talked about edibles on a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. Okay? Trust me when I tell you, get them to listen to a show about edibles and let them hear what can and can't happen to there's more hospital visits now with cannabis because of edibles. Mm-hmm. All right? And people don't understand what 5 milligrams mean when it comes to the cannabis world. They're like, I can take it. Not if you're not used to it. Don't panic, though. If you're out there and you took edibles and you took too much, first things first, don't panic. You're not going to die. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to get paranoid. You're going to feel dizzy. You might vomit, but you're not going to die.
It is when you get too high, especially on, I think, an edible, because it lasts so much longer. That peak lasts so much longer than smoking does. I can understand, like, if you've never had weed, you don't know what you're experiencing.
Yeah, of course.
And I understand why people might take themselves to an emergency room, but really it will pass.
Yeah, you're going to hate it for a minute.
You may have a moment where you're like, we'll still get that if you get way too, like, am I breathing? But now we laugh about it because we know what the feeling is. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, feels like I'm not even breathing right now. Am I alive?
I can't get off the couch. Help me.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, you have to understand is, like, listen, I just heard a horror story, too. Somebody, like, didn't know dosage, didn't know milligrams, and ate the whole thing. They freaked out.
Yeah.
For like 2 days. And it's just like, I get it. You got to go to the hospital. You got to go. I understand. But I'm telling you right now, you have to teach dosing. You have to teach people how to use this. It's new to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. A lot. And we have to do better as educating people on usage and dosage. We need to get better. Someone walking into a dispensary their first time and saying, "Oh, I've used cannabis 20 years ago," and the butler's, "What do you want?" "Oh, I want a bag of edibles. I want to go to sleep. Here you go." And if the person doesn't ask, like, how much should I take, or what? How do these work? The bud tender doesn't know, and they go home and they're like, "Oh, all right, I'm just gonna pop 2 of these in. That's 20 milli."
Right.
Oof. And if you don't know the effects, that might fuck you up. Might not, but you just gotta, read before you do edibles. Listen to the podcast. There's plenty of podcasts out there to talk about edibles too. We're not the only ones. So just learn.
Yes.
All right?
Remind me to remind you or tell you about the thing I just created in my brain.
Perfect. You need to write it down?
No.
Okay, good.
I got it.
Before we get started with political, state, and business news, don't forget to check out 8decades.com for all your cannabis accessory needs. Check out 8decades.com for the greatest smoke set on the planet. 16-gauge stainless steel, curved on the edges so you don't lose your weed, with our awesome tool set and our 3-piece ashtray, windlass ashtray. Check out 8decades.com for clothing. Mr. and Mrs. Weedman, 8 Decades gear, Weedman gear. Check out our steamroller. It's amazing. Our hemp grinder. It's wonderful. Our jars, our 8 Decades mirror and glass jars. Check out 8decades.com. By you supporting a small business, you keep this fucking show going each and every day. So support 8decades.com. Free shipping to new first-time buyers.
You selling houses or are you selling weed accessories?
Both. It's a house that you get to build it on. Thank you. Keep this show going, everybody. 8decades.com. All right. Illinois hits highest January cannabis sales since legalization. The Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation announced recreational cannabis sales totals as of January 2025. After setting a new annual sales total in 2024, Illinois kicked off 2025 with the highest January sales total since legalization. January sales totals reach $140 million, surpassing January 2024 totals by more than $6 million. Good for you, Illinois. Committee advances bill to ban vehicle searches based on smell of cannabis. An Illinois Senate committee advanced a bill last Tuesday that would strictly limit police ability to search vehicle after smelling cannabis. The Senate Criminal Law Committee voted 73 to advance the Senate Bill 42, which would eliminate the requirements that cannabis could be transported into vehicles in an odor-proof container. It would also prohibit police from searching a vehicle based on the odor of burnt raw cannabis if the occupants are at least 21 years old. Hell yeah, man. Fucking smoking weed down the street. Let's go. Just kidding. Dozens of New Jersey marijuana business. I have a lot of news about Jersey right now. There's like probably 2 or 3 more articles I could have fit in here, but it's just too much Jersey. Too much Jersey.
Why so much happening in Jersey?
There's so much fucking happening in Jersey. The place I was born. Dozens of New Jersey marijuana businesses push to legalize home cultivation despite resistance from governor and legislative leaders. Dozens of small marijuana businesses and advocacy groups in New Jersey are urging the state to legislature to legalize home cultivation of cannabis for adults. The push comes from despite oppositions from Governor Phil Murphy and legislative leaders who expressed concerns that allowing home cultivation could undermine the state's legal cannabis market. As legislative sessions progress, the future of home cultivation in New Jersey remains uncertain, and with ongoing debates among policymakers, industry stakeholders, and the public. New Jersey State-run Cannabis Training Academy has now enrolled more than 1,000 students. Good for you. The CTA training has enrolled more than 1,000 students, which is designed to support cannabis entrepreneurs interested in entering the legal marijuana industry. Illinois should take some of that $460 million and do that in all the junior colleges.
Yeah.
All the junior colleges for free. They should offer for free. It should just be paid by the taxpayer. Schools shouldn't get no money paid through the $460 million. Do something good with the money for us, for the community. New Jersey governor proposes marijuana tax hike. Another governor. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy wants to hike a special tax on cannabis from $2.50 to $15 an ounce to fund social services and violence intervention programs with tens of millions of dollars in new revenue. The tax, known as the Social Equity Excise Fee, is paid by cannabis cultivators. The money goes to dedicated fund for social equity programs and investing in communities hurt by marijuana prohibition. That I agree upon. But you don't need to go from $2.50 to $15. Yeah. And another portion is allocated to programs to divert youth from cannabis. As of August 2024, the taxes brought in more than $6 million at $2. It went from actually it was $1 something, $1 something to $2.50. Now they want to.
Huge.
That's a fucking big one. So you're already making $6 million. So which is all sitting unspent. It's all sitting unspent too. Okay? Even worse. According to the Cannabis Agency, the money must be allocated by the legislator and governor under the state's cannabis legalization law. That money will end up missing one day. Under Murphy's proposal, this bill would bring in $70 million in revenue. Just sit there. You're already making $6. You ain't doing nothing with it. $6 million is a lot of money. Man. Jersey, again, ready? Opens doors to cannabis lounges. Setting stage for industry expansion. Illinois can't even get their shit together. Look at Jersey. New Jersey launches licensing process for cannabis consumption lounges in 2025, with New Jersey legal cannabis sales exceeding $1 billion in 2024. Jersey, man,
crazy.
There was 2 more articles too, 2 more about Jersey. I just thought it was just too much. I love you, Jersey, place I was born. Place I was born. New York governor wants to let police use marijuana odor as a reasonable cause that the driver is impaired. So, Illinois kicking off that law, can't do the smell. Governor Hochul, governor, has proposed budget provisions in New York that would permit police officers to use the smell of marijuana as probable cause to administer drug test. 2 drivers suspected of impairment. The proposal seeks to amend the existing Marijuana and Taxation Act, MRTA, which currently prohibits use of cannabis odor as a basis for probable cause. The proposal has faced significant opposition. Yeah. Felicia A. B. Reed, how you doing, Felicia? Acting Executive Director of the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, stated this would undermine the basic tenets of the MRTA and decriminalization assembly of major leader. Crystal People-Stokes, who played a key role in crafting the MRTA, expressed concerns that the proposal would have unintended consequences and potentially recriminalize the plant. Wrong way. Bills to legalize or decriminalize cannabis in Indiana failed to move forward. Of course. Despite a record amount of marijuana bills filed by both Republicans and Democrats this legislative session, all efforts to legalize and decriminalize weed failed. Weeks after the Republican-led coalition Safe and Regulated Indiana pushed for meaningful marijuana reform, the main bill they pushed for died. According to the LSA fiscal analysis, the bill could have brought up to $200 million in new revenue in Indiana in 2026. $200 million. Minnesota lawmakers, cities, and businesses raise alarm over states pending marijuana contracts with tribal nations. The Minnesota state government is negotiating cannabis compacts with tribal nations, aiming to allow tribal enterprises to operate both on and off their reservations. These agreements would grant tribes significant control over the state's cannabis market, including the ability to establish retail stores and cultivate cannabis products off reservations. However, this initiative has raised concerns among lawmakers, local governments, and businesses. Critics argue that the proposed compact could exempt tribal stores from local regulations such as registration requirements, inspections, and collections of sales tax, as the state is 10% cannabis tax. Senator Zach Duckworth voiced apprehensions that these exemptions might place non-tribal businesses at comprehensive disadvantages. The situation has sparked broader debate about the balance between respecting tribal sovereignty and ensuring fair competition and regulatory oversight within the state's cannabis industry. As negotiations continue, stakeholders await further development to address these concerns. Top GOP Wisconsin lawmakers are hopeful a medical marijuana bill can pass the session. Wisconsin Republican leaders are expressing optimism about passing a medical marijuana bill during the current legislative session. Assembly Majority Leader Tyler August acknowledged the marijuana products are readily available in neighboring states and emphasized the need for Wisconsin to address this issue. Also, hemp, Delta-9 is everywhere in Wisconsin. Previous attempts to legalize have encountered challenges. Assembly Speaker Robin Voss introduced legislation for a limited medical marijuana program with state-run dispensaries, but the proposal faced opposition with its party and ultimately stalled. Senator Dan Fine expressed reservations about states' involvement in dispensary marijuana, saying, "I do not want to see states-run dispensaries." Me neither. Public support for marijuana legalization appears strong in Wisconsin. Assembly Minority Leaders Greta Newborough noted that local communities have passed referendums favoring both medical and recreational marijuana, suggesting that the legislators are attentive to the constituents' view. Despite these challenges, GOP leaders remain hopeful that the medical marijuana bill can enact the session, reflecting a potential shift in Wisconsin's approach to cannabis legislation. Montana bill would cap the number of marijuana dispensaries across state. I did not know this about Montana, how many dispensaries they had. State lawmakers last week advanced a bill that would cap the number of marijuana dispensaries in Montana. Senate Bill 27 would freeze the footprint of the state's legal cannabis market. It would allow existing marijuana licenses to change hands, but block new licenses until 2027. Montana currently has around 500 dispensaries. The state Cannabis Control Division projects hundreds more would come into the state over the next 2 years if the cap was not passed. Yeah, I mean, population versus how many dispensaries? Ooh, that's a lot. How do you make any money?
Right.
That is a lot. Ohio. Come on, player. You are definitely going backwards in your state. Wrong way. Should be put all around your state right now when what's going on with your cannabis laws and what you're trying to do. You're trying to just basically scale back the voter-approved marijuana legalization by reducing home grow and adding new penalties. There's more. There was a lot more to this. I'm not going to read them all, but the Ohio Senate has approved a bill to make significant changes in the state's voter-approved marijuana law. SB 56 is a 147-page bill that would repeal most of Ohio's current cannabis control law.
Why?
Replacing it with new, more restrictive legislation. Legislation. It is a sweeping bill with many aspects that would strengthen regulation against home grow, adult use, dispensary licensing, cannabis farms, employment, taxation, and product options. And also they're trying to do away with social equity programs.
That's ridiculous. Really?
Ohio,
really?
What is going on with you, man? Your constituents vote. You're trying to go from 12 plants to 6 plants. You're trying to raise taxes. You are.
That's weird.
What do I always say about every state? Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, they're fucking it up.
They're fucking it up. We got some friends in Ohio. We love you. Some good peeps in the cannabis industry. We know Columbus, Ohio is one of our long-standing listening cities across the world. Ohio, man. Don't fuck it up.
Pretty bad.
Whew. Nevada cannabis regulators say tax revenue was down due to growing illicit sales. Nevada's cannabis tax revenue has dropped due to growth of illicit sales, which have reached $242 million. Legal markets fell from $965 million in 2022 to $829 million in fiscal 2024, with tax revenue down $32 million. Factors contributing to this include the appeal of lower prices in the illicit market and difficulties in enforcement. Lawmakers are considering expanding the Cannabis Compliance Board's powers to address illegal operations more effectively. That might be true. It might not be true. What I'm telling you right now, the bulk of your people live in Reno and Las Vegas, and then you have the smaller little cities all around. Vegas is down, like as a whole. Hotels are down. Gambling is down.
People are just traveling and living so differently.
Just families going there or individual conferences are still happening. That I'm not taking away. But there's your normal tourist destination. You're charging $27 for a drink. I ain't coming to Vegas unless it's a corporate thing and my corporation's paying for it. I'm not going there $27. Who do you think you are charging $27 for a drink? Your cannabis sales are down because you're just outrageously priced probably, and people aren't coming to your stores. So you have to deal with just conferences and people that live in that state. You're down because your tourist areas are down. No one wants to spend that kind of money. You used to be back in the day. Vegas was great. You can get cheap hotels,
Oh, because
Good
it used to
food
be cheap.
Yeah, good food cheap.
Yeah.
Drinks were cheap. People wanted you to gamble. Mm-hmm. And they didn't care how much the lodging. It was all about the gambling. Now it's like shows are off the roof. I mean, it's just crazy how expensive. When I was there in December for MJ BizCon, I was like, this is ridiculous. I went to fucking Starbucks and paid $13 for a fucking coffee. I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? Mm-hmm. I will never come back here again. I don't need to unless I'm going there for a conference. You know, it's just, I love the people of Nevada. I've got some friends out there. It's great. But just what you're doing to your industry, you're just destroying it for people, working class people, to be able to afford to go there. Mm-hmm. It's like Disney World now.
Right.
Disney back in the day was great. You can go there and buy a ticket for fucking $25 and go ride 3 parks. Now it's like fucking, it's like $32 for a sandwich.
It's like a college education to go to Disney with your family.
People have spent like $10,000 to go for like a week. I'm like, ugh, no, thank you. So, California State Fair will again feature on-site marijuana sales and consumption with new award categories for blunts, hash, and chocolates. Alabama State University becomes the HBCU to offer a cannabis education program. Can't get weed sold yet. Can't get those suppositories, Alabama. But boy, oh boy, we got Alabama State University is the first HBCU to offer a cannabis education program featuring 5 online certifications created in partnership with Green Flower. The programs cover cannabis healthcare, agriculture, business, compliance, and product development. These programs aim to meet the growing demand for skilled professionals in the medical cannabis industry, despite the state's legalization of medical marijuana in 2021. It's now 2025. Products are still not available for sale, but opportunities are emerging as the industry expands. Just running for those fucking suppositories, everybody. I love you, Alabama. I got a place in my heart real deep. GOP congressman tells welfare recipients to stop buying the medical marijuana and eating Cheetos. How fucked up is that? Representative Pat Fallon of Texas justified a bill requiring work from able-bodied welfare recipients by playing into cannabis stereotypes, saying people are using taxpayer money to buy medical marijuana and eat Cheetos.
Come on, really?
Yeah, the bill aims to close loopholes in current law requiring able-bodied individuals to work at least 20 hours a week for SNAP benefits. Fallon's comments reflect a broader GOP narrative on restricting welfare use for marijuana. No evidence supporters that claim SNAP funds are being misused for cannabis purchases. Just wrong. Wrong to say that, you know? Washington lawmakers once again abandoned effort to allow adults to grow marijuana at home. Washington lawmakers have abandoned efforts to legalize more cultivation of marijuana after failing to advance the bill before the legislative deadline. The bill, which would have allowed adults to grow up to 6 plants for personal use, faced opposition despite some support from the cannabis industry. Lawmakers, including Representative Shelby Klobla, have tried for years to pass the reform, but resistance from lawmakers and agencies have stalled progress. This marks the 2nd consecutive year the proposal has failed. Washington, the state, shame. Shame. Shame on you for not letting people grow their own medicine. The 2025 Hemp Summit is here in Illinois this year. Thursday, March 27, 2025, the event in the Artesian Building on the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield, Illinois, with a 10 a.m. start time. So have fun at the Hemp Summit, everybody. Enjoy it. Go fight for legalization of everything. Go down there and fucking have some fun. New data reveals glaring dilemma with regulated weed.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Ready?
Yeah.
There is a steep learning curve associated with being a new cannabis consumer. Walking into a dispensary on a whim with no knowledge is intimidating on its own. On top of that, the alphabet soup of cannabinoids paired with the sheer volume of product options on the walls, or worse, television menus, it may just make people feel like they don't know what to do, right? The experience does not sound enjoyable. And it rarely,
You got popped by Gary. You got Gary Poppins.
I can do this. The experience does not sound enjoyable, and it rarely leads to a perfect match for the customer. This has inspired a legion of weed fans to get learning about growing practices, brand integrity, and how to read complex labels as they navigate the somewhat safe regulated market. Unfortunately, new research shows that even the customers schooled in reading labels could be in the dark. The Cannabis Data Gathering Program, a health Canada lab, established in 2023, provided new insight into how trustworthy cannabis products are. The program learns about potential risks and trends in the regulated and illegal cannabis markets to inform future regulation and enforcement. The most recently published data comes from 100 samples of dried, cured cannabis flower from both markets, harvested and packaged from 2020 to 2023. They procured about 10 regulated samples, each from British Columbia, Ontario, and Quebec. The rest of the provinces were represented by anywhere from 1 to 5 products, while illicit samples came primarily from British Columbia, Ontario, and Quebec. The program looks specifically at delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, levels, heavy metals, mycotoxins, pesticides, and microbial contaminants in the bud. It turns out regulated weed and street weed need to figure some stuff out. Regulated cannabis showed discrepancies when it came to THC percentages. These tests showed that 14 products only contained 70 to 80% of the promised THC, with 10 containing less than 70% of the promised THC. The remainder were presented as testing with over 80% of the labeled concentration. However, 13 of the 26 still contained less than 90% of the claimed amounts. Many argue that THC totals lessen because cannabis ages in its journey to the retail floor. If true, the flower would have had higher levels of CBN, since the psychoactive compound degrades into the believed sleepy one. So just THC as it ages is said, but that's before the curing stage, right? It's in the drying stage. If you cure your cannabis longer, you pull out more CBN, but also as cannabis ages, it comes out. Okay.
The trichomes turn that amberish color.
Yeah.
That's when it's forming into CBN.
Well, it's still on the plant in flower.
Yeah.
If true, the flower would have higher levels of CBN since the psychoactive compound degrades into the believed sleepy one. The program tested for CBN, and no trends were observed that link lower THC levels to higher CBN. Interesting. Yeah. On the other side of the legal weed world, street weed tested very hot for pesticides. 94% of the 50 samples from this group contained an average of 3.4 of the potentially harmful compounds, and a total of 24 were found. Most commonly, myclobutanil, a fungicide, and paclobutrazol, a popular PGR used to bulk up flour. And 6 of these samples had mycotoxins. Meanwhile, heavy metals and microbial contaminants were significantly higher in cannabis obtained from unregulated entities. While this is not great, it is a risk everyone assumes when shopping for products held to no safety standards. The real shocker is that the data proves many regulated cannabis labels have inflated their THC percentages. The findings pose an issue in consumer trust, which may push more to find products elsewhere. Inaccurate labels can negatively affect consumer perceptions of legal cannabis product quality and reduce consumer confidence in the legal market, the study concluded. So don't lie to the people.
International news. Tens of thousands gathered for a Hindu festival at Nepal temple, with many of them lighting up marijuana joints. You know what kind of weed they were lighting up? Hindu Kush.
Yeah.
During Nepal recent Shivaratari festival at Kathmandu's Pashaputa temple, tens of thousands of Hindu devotees gathered, with many openly consuming marijuana, a practice typically illegal but permitted during this religious event. The area near the temple was filled with individuals smoking cannabis, including young Nepalese and visitors from India, advocating or pushing for marijuana legalization, citing its potential benefits. Despite the presence of police, no interventions occurred during the festival. First cannabis products franchise in South America to consume land in the U.S. Meet Prague's Canna Shop. Canna Shop is Prague's first industrial cannabis product franchise and its first of its kind in South America. The company plans to global expansion in the U.S., Argentina, Germany, and other cannabis-friendly markets. CEO Maria Jose Rey highlights strong female leadership and innovation as the key drivers to success. Grenada's government to decriminalize marijuana later this year. Grenada's Agricultural Minister Lennox Andrews says before the end of the second half of 2025, the government will bring legislation to the parliament that would decriminalize the use of cannabis for religious and recreational use. Authorities find 1.5 tons of marijuana in cartel camp. Authorities in Chihuahua, Mexico said they have seized more than 1.5 tons of marijuana in place they describe as a camp used by members of the organized criminal group. Victorian medical cannabis users can now keep a license after positive roadside drug test. And then Victorian medical cannabis users are breathing a sigh of release as significant changes to driving laws take effect on March 21st, 2025. Patients using prescribed cannabis will no longer automatically lose the driver's license if they test positive for traces of drugs during roadside tests. My friend Tez, this happened to you. You got through a checkpoint a few years ago. You wrote me about it, and you told me that you got a breathalyzer test or whatever kind of test they do, and you got a ticket, and I think you lost your license for a hot minute. Now look, our friends in Australia, they're doing away with it. I'd fight that, my friend in Australia.
Get it
what they
expunged.
did to you. Yes, I would fight to get that expunged.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Oh my gosh. Oh, going back to that one with the authorities find 1.5 tons of marijuana in cartel camp, there was some pictures, and it looked like the regs I used to get from like the Mexican regs I used to get in the 90s. Like total just shit. Dried fucking brick. Oh my gosh. Going from what Mrs. Weedman talked about, nearly half of Canadian cannabis, just 80% of the advertised THC levels. A recent analysis indicates that nearly half of Canadian cannabis products contain about 80% of their advertised THC levels. The discrepancy contributes to THC inflation, where products are marked with higher potency than they deliver, leading to consumer dissatisfaction and declining revenues for business. Addresses the issue. Some Canadian cannabis producers are advocating for more accurate testing methods and transparent labeling to align consumer expectation with adult product potency. Gandalf, not Gandalf the Grey or Gandalf the White, Gandalf, accused of selling illegal medical cannabis in New Zealand, outrage over targeting of one of New Zealand's alleged green fairies who provide cheaper medicinal cannabis without prescription. Paul Smith, widely known as Gandalf the Green Fairy, is facing legal charges in New Zealand for cultivating and distributing medical cannabis without proper authorization. At 66, Smith has been providing affordable cannabis products to individuals with chronic pain, anxiety, and other health issues, often serving those unable to afford access to legal prescriptions. Despite the legalization of medical cannabis in New Zealand since 2020, patients still encounter barriers such as high costs and social stigma. Smith's supporters argue that his actions address these challenges, offering a compassionate alternative to the legal market. A response to his arrest, over 50 protesters gathered outside the district courthouse, expressing support for Smith and advocating for policy reforms towards harm reduction approach. Green Party co-leader Chloe Schwarbrick criticized the police raid as a misuse of public resources and called for evidence-based drug policies. Smith has pleaded not guilty to the charges of cultivating cannabis, dealing cannabis, and possessing cannabis for supply. He has elected to trial by jury, with the case review scheduled for April 29th. All right. Gandalf the Green Fairy. Man, out in New Zealand, everybody out there, man, you need to show up at that courthouse and make sure if you got weed from him, it needs to be like 500 protesters staying out front going, free Gandalf the Green. Free Gandalf the Green. Free Gandalf the Green Fairy. We love you. Green Fairy. Bring us more weed. Something. Maybe if I had the money to fly out to New Zealand, I'd hold my sign. Free Gandalf the Green Fairy in my costume. It would be amazing. Everybody, free Gandalf the Green Fairy. He's a homie. I love it. In memoriam, salute to the skunk man.
Yep.
Every cannabis breeder operating over the past 40 years owes a debt of gratitude to who? The skunk man.
The skunk man, yes. The cannabis community is mourning the loss of yet another of its great icons, breeder and entrepreneur David Watson, better known as Sam the Skunk Man, who passed into the great beyond on Monday, January 27th at the age of 76. Watson, also known as Skunk Man Sam, Sam Selesny, or Sadhu Sam, was, by most accounts, the most influential cannabis breeder in history. Starting out in Santa Cruz County in the early 1970s, he began collecting, cataloging, and crossing cannabis cultivars from around the globe, eventually creating several classic strains, including As his nickname suggests, the legendary skunk number 1, whose genetic fingerprints can be found within many of the popular varieties enjoyed today. Watson shared the unique genetics he'd procured and produced with the public through the seed company he founded, Sacred Seeds, America's first commercial seed bank. Then, in 1984, he brought around 250,000 seeds to Amsterdam, where, under the new name of Cultivator's Choice, he sold his genetics including skunk number 1, Afghan number 1, Durban Poison, Hindu Kush, and the original Haze to all of the Dutch growers, who then used them to help create the iconic strains and seed companies we know today. It's not overstating things to say that every cannabis breeder operating over the past 40 years owes a debt of gratitude to the skunk man. Beyond breeding, Watson made numerous other groundbreaking contributions to cannabis culture and science. In the late 1980s, he published the first pamphlet explaining how to make water hash and is credited with coining the phrase, "If it doesn't bubble, it ain't worth the trouble." He later went on to co-host the infamous Legends of Hashish dinner party and competition held in Amsterdam each November during the Cannabis Cup with his lifelong friend, botanist Robert Connell Clark, and Marcus Bubbleman Richardson. He and Clark also co-founded the International Hemp Association, as well as the genetics company Hortilab and Hortifarm, the world's first privately funded pharmaceutical cannabinoid research company. Regarded by many as a kind-hearted curmudgeon, Watson was almost universally beloved by growers around the world. But despite his revered status in the community, he eschewed all accolades and recognition, preferring to live a very private life as an expat in Amsterdam, where he resided with his wife and partner Diana, and forbidding photos of himself to be made public. It's only now, after his death, that friends have begun posting images of him. As part of his final wishes, Watson's ashes have been portioned out into small, custom-blown glass vials to be shared with his friends and other prominent growers around the world, with the intention that the ashes, be sprinkled into the soil on their next crop so that his remains can nourish the sacred plant he loved and devoted his life to. So rest easy, Skunk Man, in the knowledge that your legendary legacy will live on for many generations to come.
The Skunk Man.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. He created some pretty amazing strains that we still get to try today and smoke today.
Yeah.
So, which is amazing. So, Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
Got anything else to say?
Well, have a great week, everybody. I'm really pretty baked, and Ignius, you grow some good stuff. Keep it up.
Hey, all you people out there, all you burner storms and potheads, we love you. Thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate you out there. Getting close to that 250 mark, Ms. Wee, man. We're almost there. We're just touching it, scraping away. We love you out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.